Welcome to Old Guy Tech,
the OGT.TV recording studio.
Technology for the rest of us.
Hi, it's Rob Charney, Old Guy Tech TV News 44, and here we are in a new year, 2014, with Sheriff John DeAgostini, and we're just kind of surf it. I don't know, just see what we want to talk about, because I don't have a whole lot of real hard and firm stuff, but I thought maybe you'd like to talk to people maybe a little bit about the bomb threat that you guys had and how you dealt with that, so that they understand that these things actually happen even in Dorado County.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what happened?
Well, our EOD unit, actually the office was called on the 6th with a suspicious device out in front of probation offices off of Duroc Road.
Mm-hmm.
When the deputies got there, they saw what appeared to them to be a pipe bomb. And the EOD, they called EOD, our Explosive Ordnance Division. They responded, sent the robot up, looked like a legitimate device to them.
Yeah.
Apparently, it looked like somebody had just dropped it there. It had a very crude fuse device on it that doesn't look like it worked.
Right. Good.
They shot it with a I don't know if they used the water or they didn't use the water. They used what I believe is called an Avon round, which is non-inflammatory. It won't spark, but yet it'll take it apart.
Interesting.
And that's what it was. Of course, with probation, the amount of the suspect list is rather large.
Yeah, I would think so. Huh.
But they're actively investigating it. If anybody knows anything or seen anything or had any suspicions, please give us a call at the sheriff's office on the regular line, 621-6600. You never know. It just might be, if you have a little bit of information, it just might be the last little piece that puts the puzzle together.
Right.
So I was talking with the undersheriff about it, and I didn't go on this call, but I've been to probably the last 3 or 4. I've been out at the scenes when we've had EOD call-outs.
Right.
And these guys are impressive. I mean, just very, by the book.
Yeah.
A well-oiled machine. They do a fantastic job. You just stand back and let them do their job. They have state-of-the-art equipment, which is kind of the industry standard throughout the nation.
Right.
On dealing with these situations. With the X-ray technology and the diffusement technology and everything else that we have, so we can handle pretty much everything. And they are, of course I'm biased, but they're dang good at what they do.
Well, that's good. So they use the robot. So the robot kind of goes up there and it's got a camera and it's able to look at what it may be.
Yeah, that's the first. I mean, you don't put a person in a position where you can put a robot.
Yeah.
So they always send the robot in and they take pictures. They'll take X-rays, see what everything that they can find out about it, they can find out.
Right.
As much information and much investigation as they can. Sometimes before they'll diffuse them, they'll move them with the robot. Sometimes they'll just diffuse them in place. Sometimes, typically, diffusing can cause a little bit of damage in itself. I mean, you need enough power to blow up something like that, which is made from galvanized pipe.
Right.
So you can put a divot in the concrete or things like that. So they'll typically move it out to an area where the least amount of damage can be found. So
so this was an unsophisticated knucklehead.
Pretty unsophisticated. Yeah.
Good.
It didn't even work.
Good.
It didn't even work. So.
Were there signs that he tried to make it work?
Well, there's a fuse, and it apparently has some burnt parts on it, like it was
like you
lit,
tried to light it,
but didn't make it to the inside of it.
Thank goodness.
Sometimes also we respond to different call-outs, suspicious devices or things like that, and we find them to be innocuous.
Sure.
Things that to the untrained eye maybe look like a device. You get there and it's fine. This is what it is. Everything's okay. But when you run across one like this, you take it very seriously. And everybody is obviously on a little bit of heightened alert down there at probation. Our guys are on a little bit of extra patrol. We'd like to solve it.
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't take much to hurt people and injure. We don't care about the buildings so much, but we certainly want to make sure that the people are safe.
Absolutely.
And something like this could have very well had worked and could have very well injured people, and we certainly don't want that.
No.
So good for your EOD team and doing a good job with that. So that's interesting. Maybe one of these days we'll get Old Guy Tech TV to watch a training session. Maybe we can take a few pictures of that robot and how you guys work.
Yeah.
I'm sure the public would like to see that. I'm sure you guys would. I know I would. I'd like just to go out and see it.
It's neat. It's neat.
I love to see that kind of stuff, and the guy's doing a great job. So that's super. So that was as the sheriff mentioned. If you have any clues whatsoever, obviously this is a knucklehead who knows what he was thinking. Please call the sheriff's office, not 911, and help us out so that we can figure out what's going on with this stupid thing. So. And the other thing that I wanted to talk about, I came across, and I don't know a whole lot about this thing. But maybe you do. There was an ordinance, I guess, that the Board of Supervisors drafted. It was a sex offender ordinance that I guess went above and beyond what California has.
Well, it was an ordinance. The district attorney is the one, I believe, working in conjunction with the Board of Supervisors and County Council actually drafted it. We were involved because we were the ones that would have been on the on the implementation end of,
right.
Because we are the where the sex registrants come to register.
Right.
What it was an ordinance that was passed that prohibited registered sex offenders from being present at or loitering around parks, schools, or pretty much any other place where children would congregate. When it was going through the process of draft and then eventually being accepted as an ordinance, there were some questions as to the constitutionality of it. There were some other jurisdictions that were drafting similar ordinances. Everybody got their heads together and came up with it. It made a lot of sense. Anything that we can do to protect our children.
Sure, absolutely.
These are registered sex offenders.
Right.
So they've already been convicted of whatever sex crime already and required by law under Penal Code Section 290 to register as a sex offender. So we thought that there was a lesser expectation of constitutional rights in that respect. But and I can't remember the specific jurisdiction, it may be in the article, down south that it immediately met with a lawsuit.
Right.
It is going through the courts. Rather than put Dorado County in a position to have to stand up and fight at this time, the Board of Supervisors repealed the ordinance pending the outcome of that court case. And we'll probably come back at a later date with a new ordinance that will be modified to fall within the guidelines and meet those constitutional issues.
Right, I think so. Since the court went ahead and made a decision, at least the district attorney knows what direction he needs to go in to change that ordinance.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was a good deal. I mean, it was even on school grounds. If a registered sex offender wanted to go, and there was an appeal process. Let's say a registered sex offender had a child, and it was on school ground, that went to school, and that person wanted to go and pick up their child or go to a music event or a sporting event at the school. We looked at those appeals on an individual case-by-case basis, depending on what the original crime was for purpose of the registration, what the history had been since, what the history was before, took everything into consideration, and then we could, in conjunction and cooperation with the school district, issue a waiver, so to speak.
Okay.
So the person could pick up their child or go to such event. And we looked at each one of them very seriously. But for the most part, if you were a registered sex offender and you were caught on school, at a park, like I said, any place where children normally congregate, it was a violation of the ordinance and went above and beyond what the penal code and what it allowed us to do as law enforcement in order to protect the kids.
It's interesting that the penal code doesn't actually have that in there. I haven't read it, so I don't know what it says. Is there similar language in it?
They can't loiter for certain purposes, obviously.
Okay,
and we have that, but If you, let's say, we use the Placerville City Park, for example, if there was a registered sex offender standing outside the city park, not really doing anything, it would be pretty hard to show intent as to what his true motivations were for hanging outside the park.
Right.
So this ordinance would have allowed, or did allow, law enforcement to say, no, just the mere fact that you're a registered sex offender hanging around this place and there's kids there,
right,
you get in a citation.
So there's a distance, right? They can't be within, 1,000 feet of the park or something like that.
And I can't, it's moot at this point, so I don't really remember what it was.
Yeah, it's interesting, though, that each county has to kind of write their own ordinance, and tighten it up. And you would think with those guys in the legislature passing every anti-gun bill you can imagine, you'd think they'd come out and try to
do something like that.
Try to tighten up the sex offender law. But no, why should we do something smart like that? We'll do something dumb instead.
There you go.
I'm just crazy. So.
What else you got?
I don't have a whole lot, but I know we're zipping through stuff here. This will be a quick show today. I was just. The federal court made a decision, and I wanted to talk to you. That's why I wanted it out of uniform. Yeah, because I wanted to talk to you about this. This is very interesting because the court in Newtown, Connecticut, struck down the city of Chicago's 2010 ordinance banning the sale of firearms within city limits. So the U.S. District Court Judge Chang, in his ruling released Monday, provided important recognition that the right of Americans to keep and bear arms under the Second Amendment also necessitates that they have the right to acquire those firearms through lawful means. So, hey, we got a judge with a brain, and
we're going on the offensive as we should.
Right.
We need to start going the other way.
Absolutely. So I thought that was,
and this was a suit that was sponsored or brought by NSSF, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, and then the National Shooting Sports Foundation is on the offensive now. They're not sitting back being reactive. They're being proactive, and they're going after these things. And we just hope we continue. With this type of ruling, this is what we need.
Absolutely.
Because it's just California's just so crazy with our gun laws. For those of you, if you're out of the state of California, good on you as far as gun laws go. But it just gets completely crazy. So I thought this was what it is.
There's another one that was just presented by, I think it was De Leon, on the 3rd of January. Any firearms manufacturer, anybody manufacturing a firearm within the state of California will have to apply to DOJ for the identification numbers, for the serial numbers.
Right.
So it can no longer be the manufacturer's identification scheme. It
great. One more
DOJ.
level of...
But I think it goes beyond that, and I'm waiting for a phone call from some representatives from both NRA and CRPA and GOC on this, because the way I read the law, it in effect registers that firearm before it's even done being manufactured, and or purchased or possessed by an individual.
Is that the same one that bans the 80% lowers?
This is different than the 80% lower.
Yeah. Usually, what happens is, again, the firearm is only the part that has the serial number.
That's right.
So that's not unusual. I think what's unusual here is they're going even further and wanting to make or allow DOJ now to say, okay, I'm going to give you this group of serial numbers. Just one more, I don't know.
Well, and then we'll give it to this group, but this group's paperwork gets hung up. There's a lot of things that I believe can happen with this one, and we don't need more gun laws.
Yeah, well, it doesn't make any sense. Why,
we don't need more gun laws.
So what is this? Is this the reaction to the printer, being able to make it?
I don't know. I think California is looking at, I think the gun grabbers, the anti-gun groups are looking at, there are, believe it or not, there's quite a few gun manufacturers in California that are building some very fine guns.
Absolutely.
We have a couple here in Dorado County. They're building some nice firearms, and this is just another way to regulate the industry.
Just to tie it up more.
To tie it up more, absolutely. Put another bureaucratic level over private enterprise. Nuts. Nuts.
It just doesn't. It just.
But we'll see as it plays out, and we start looking at some analysis of this law. It's going to be interesting to see what the actual reasons are and whatnot. So.
Yeah, I'm hoping to hear from Sam from Gun Owners of California soon. He's been hard to get a hold of. I know he's busy, and I'm hoping that he can come to the El Dorado Rod and Gun Club banquet. By the way, if you folks are interested, we have that coming up January 21.
I'll be there.
Yep, the sheriff's going to be there.
I'll be there.
So it's a good opportunity to come and see. If you haven't met John in person, come to the banquet. Good opportunity to talk with a bunch of like-minded people.
Good folks.
Yeah, good folks, and
opportunity to win some really nice guns.
Great opportunities. We got some nice stuff out there.
I missed out last year. I gave my winning ticket to a buddy of mine. Remember that?
Yes, I do remember that. And till this day it pisses me off. Because you gave it to him. Yeah, so that was good. But yeah, hopefully, here's a plug for the El Dorado Rod and Gun Club. Folks, go to edrgc.com and you can buy tickets right online. You don't have to be present to win.
Nope.
So all you have to do is get your tickets. But we'd love to have you at the banquet. And in all honesty, our sales are a little slow right now. We're wondering what's going on. With a membership over 800, it should be no problem to sell 175. But it's been a little slow, and I don't know why. Probably,
we'll beef it up.
We'll beef it up. We'll get it out there. That's right.
We'll fill the room.
The sheriff will help us get more people.
We'll fill the room.
Yeah, we've got to do that. So
I don't know if you heard on February 8th in Southern California and Ontario, I'm going to be receiving an award from the California Rifle and Pistol Association, CRPA.
Yeah, I saw that press release.
Peace Officer of the Year. So
yay!
I'm looking forward to that.
Peace Officer of the Year.
Very honored. Yes. Nice.
Great, John. Super. Good for you.
Very, very
You
honored.
deserve it. If anybody deserves it, you deserve
thank you.
it. Yeah,
thank you.
Absolutely. You've done a wonderful job. So.
Thank you.
So how let's switch over to campaign mode. How are we doing?
We're doing good. We're collecting signatures, moving forward. So far, knock on wood, nobody else has signed up.
Yeah.
But that could change any minute. If you're interested, there's signature papers at where do we have them at right now? Well, the gun stores, Bighorn, Mosquito Creek, and Newtown Firearms all have signature sheets, signatures in lieu of.
Right.
And what those are is I have to have so many to file, which is a minuscule number. I think it's only 20 or 30 to file.
Yeah.
But then every signature is also worth 25 cents for the filing fee. So it does save the campaign some money, and just one of the steps that we go through to sit back in the seat.
And it's easy. I mean, you just sign your name and give your address.
Registered voters.
Yep, registered voters.
Registered voters.
That helps.
Yeah. So it's going good. I mean, I don't think there's, like I said last time, I believe we talked about it, there's no issues.
Yeah. No problems.
And a lot of accomplishments. So I don't think, what anybody could run on. Of course, it is a free world. Anybody could run that's qualified. But I'd sure like to stay there. I got a lot more I want to do.
You just started.
We just started. This 3-year anniversary, January 3rd, was from swearing in. So we got a long way we need to go. Yeah.
It's so fast. It's amazing. Yeah, well, that's great. I'm sure glad that you're running again, and hopefully, when is the end for the filing date? What's the date?
It's March 9th or something.
Yeah, it's in March sometime. So we'll hopefully nobody does anything, and instead of a campaign, we're going to have a party.
Yeah, there you go. That'll work.
We'll have a party.
Sounds good to me.
So how are we doing? Any other issues out there that we want people to be aware of going on now? Now we've had a terrible winter, obviously, and we know we're going to be into a drought situation. But hopefully the weather is going to turn, and I know you guys gear up a little different for winter than summer. Is there anything going on that we should be aware of?
As far as anything going on, things have been, knock on wood, very, very smooth at the sheriff's office. Even crime's been pretty static. Suicides, thank God, were very, very low this year. Usually we see a huge swing in suicides during the holidays, from Thanksgiving until shortly after the New Year's. And we were at, I would venture to say, darn near a record low.
Good.
I mean, it's nothing to have, and I hate to say this, but it's nothing to have in that time frame 50 to 60 or more suicides in that amount of time.
Wow.
It's just very sad. But this year, I think we've had less than 10.
That's great.
Which is fantastic.
Yeah.
The weather brings the same issues that we talk about before. People, please be prepared. Have a few extra gallons of water and a generator if you got one. Have food,
Right.
just the staples to get by for a few days in case we have a major storm come through. And
We had a big one early on.
Yeah.
And poof,
nothing.
Just nothing. It's like crazy.
Oh my!
How are we doing with the homeless? Are the warming stations, or are those guys gearing up for that at all?
Yeah. And as far as I know, things are going smooth. They're going just like they used to prior to Hangtown Haven being in place.
Right.
And it's the same. The churches have their nomadic shelters set up. So the faith-based communities are absolutely doing their part. Like I've said before, they have the plan, they have the way to deal with it. Mm-hmm. The government needs to get out of their way and let them do it.
Yep.
I think that our homeless population is increased compared to what it was before Hangtown Haven, because Hangtown Haven made it. The word started. It was towards the end of when HHI was in operation. The word was getting around that this was here, and we were starting to see homeless coming from states away, saying, "Hey, I understand
Really?
you have this place." And one of the rules was you had to be a resident to live there. You had to be a resident of the El Dorado County, have an address in
Sure.
El Dorado County in order to be eligible to stay at Hangtown Haven.
Oh.
So those people were getting turned away. Well, now that we had that issue and HHI is closed, so now we're seeing the more homeless population in our community. But it's, it is what it is. That, like I said, the churches, they can handle this. They're more than
They do a
willing
good
to.
job.
They do a dang good job of it. So,
Yeah, the church has done a wonderful job. I know my wife's church set up something for them as well. They're doing a good job. So a lot of the churches are doing a real good job. So
Good.
Good on them. So, how are we doing now? We talked about facilities, and I think it's something that we need to talk about, a little bit every time we're here a little bit. How are we doing now?
we're doing good. We just had a facilities meeting today, the facilities investment team, which is a county-wide team for all of the county-owned facilities. Talked about the capital improvement plan or deferred maintenance plan that the county is finally getting together and put together, and board approval for budgets to start keeping up and bringing up the facilities that we do have. And then, of course, the sheriff's headquarters is at the top of the list for a replacement facility. The last board meeting that the county had regarding the topic was very encouraging. The board members unanimously were saying that it's very much a priority of theirs to figure out a way to make it happen and get it done. The next big step is the 27th of this month. There will be a presentation before the board if anybody out there would like to attend. It's going to be very informative. It's going to kind of recap everything up to date as far as what the county has done to identify the issues within the county and their facilities, or basically the lack thereof of deferred maintenance over the years,
Right.
which is the reason they're in the shape they
Right.
are now, and the plan to move forward with that. And then also it's going to recap the process we've gone so far, the identification, and what we have done to deal with this sheriff's headquarters issue. And hopefully at the end of the meeting, we will be getting a go-ahead vote from the board to move forward on negotiations for sites.
Okay.
So it's kind of a big step. I feel very confident. I believe that the momentum is there. I believe I and my office and my agency, as well as members of the facilities investment team, have done everything they can to build the political will, for lack of a better word, within the county and also in the community. And I think as long as we can keep this momentum going, we can identify a good, solid financial source to pay for it, which there are a few out there. It's not that there's no way, oh my gosh, how are we going to pay for it? There are ways to pay for it, and have the board comfortable enough and be able to understand the need, which I believe they do, and just keep this momentum moving forward and get it done.
Good. Any so the site selection, how's that process moving?
Well, there were the California Government Code is the law that the law that states where a sheriff's office has to be built. There's actually a law that says
I had no idea.
a sheriff's facility, a law enforcement facility, sheriff's facility has to be at the county seat, or it needs to be conveniently located within the population center of the county. So if you look at the county seat, Placerville area, and then you go down to the population center, which is just this side of Cameron Park, I believe. It moves a little bit every year depending on the population of El Dorado Hills, of course. The issue or the problem that I see with moving that far down the hill is that's today. Someday El Dorado Hills will incorporate. It's just going to happen. Someday it's going to incorporate. So whether it's 5 years, 10, 20, or 30 years down the road, if El Dorado Hills, when El Dorado Hills incorporates, that population center then moves right back into Placerville, right where the government code first states it should be. So that's where we are focusing on, is within the greater Placerville area. Placerville, Diamond Springs, down to Shingle, up in here, not very far down the hill, but so what they did, we have a big giant circle that they've taken, and what they did was they ran an independent firm are the ones that are doing this, so that nobody can point the fingers at me or the board or say there was any funny stuff.
Good old boy stuff.
None of that stuff.
Right.
So an independent firm, what they did is they first went through every parcel that is within that area, and they identified it as to size and then availability. They started out with over 400 parcels of property, running it through a matrix that takes into account infrastructure, ease of environmental impact mitigation, traffic flow, noise, anything and everything that will affect it.
Right.
They run it through that matrix, and from what I understand, they are down to about 13 or 14 parcels right now. And they are confidential at this time,
we don't
as they should be.
Word should not be out now.
Because we don't want the price going up. And what the board will be voting on, should they take the vote, is there will be a list of parcel numbers that they will be presented with, and they will be presented to the public. Just a list of parcel numbers, and that's all it is, that the county is eligible to enter negotiations on. And then, pursuant to law, all those negotiations then go into closed session by design.
Right.
Again, to keep those costs down so that we can best use the taxpayers' dollars. We don't get burnt on the price.
Right. Or be forced into eminent domain situations.
We don't want to do that. So it's a big process. It's a very well thought out process. I think it's it's probably one of the first times that I think it's gone by the numbers, and I hope it continues to go by the numbers to keep the bureaucracies and the politics and everything out of it. Just go by the rules. There's a reason these processes are in place. It's because they work. Just make them happen. Get it done. So
it's been a long time needed.
Well, the first real study that was done that looked into this issue was in 1989. That was the first time the issue was brought up, and they said, you know what, we do have a problem here, and they spent some money at that time doing a need study for then what was the old sheriff's office with the old jail and everything else.
Right.
So, but now we have, since then we've had to move investigations out. We have support services in another spot. We have radio shop in a whole nother in Diamond Springs. We have our fiscal and OES and dispatch underneath the board of supervisors. We're spread all over the place. And I've talked about those and preached that long enough, but we're just continuing to move forward. We're not trying to rush things. We don't want to miss anything. And then it comes down to, like I said a minute ago, the funding streams, finding a good, legitimate, solid, reliable funding stream to be able to pay for it.
Right.
And there are options out there. There's options without going out for bond. I don't think the county's going to have to do that.
That would be good.
It would be fantastic.
Yeah.
And I firmly believe that's very, very doable.
Mm-hmm.
What the board decides to do, that's up to them. And you also have to look at the fact that every day that goes by right now, with the way that the economy is and construction is going, costs are doing nothing but going up daily.
Right.
Both material, labor,
Yep.
everything is just going up.
We're seeing that with a little bit of the improvement in the economy, and prices are going up because of it.
Yeah.
And interest rates will not be held where they're at much longer, I don't think.
No, I do worry about a false sense of security in this economy, and things look too good. I worry about another crash. There's a lot of experts out there that are saying, "Hey, this is imminent. It's going to happen again."
It's quite possible.
Well,
we still have an awful large unemployment population. I mean, we have so many people that have dropped out of the system simply because there's been nothing.
Absolutely, we have a false optimistic unemployment situation right now.
Because the numbers are huge. I mean, I even in my own family situation, it's he's not counted any longer because he's given up.
Right.
And it's really sad.
Yeah.
So, we don't want to get too excited about it. The Senate did confirm Yellen to replace Bernanke, and she's kind of an unknown quantity. And we're going to talk a little bit about her tonight on Opinion versus Opinion, and I don't have a whole lot about her, but it'll be interesting to see. My understanding is she's a little more liberal than and
that's what I understand and what I've read, and that's what concerns me.
Yeah, I worry about that a little bit too, because we just get the turnaround going. We just get the machine started, and all of a sudden they want to do something crazy again.
And the biggest worry that should be to this country right now, one of the biggest, is this debt limit and the debt ceiling, and it's like nobody's talking about it still.
Yeah. Well, we've got a couple more months, and they're going to have to face it. I mean,
they'll just kick the can down the road like they did the last time.
Yeah, they will. And the problem is, we're so decisive. And, we've got, we're so extreme on both sides. We do, as much as I don't like this, we do have to come to a consensus. I hate the word, but
just don't use compromise.
No,
don't use the word compromise.
No, I won't use compromise. No, consensus. A legitimate consensus where both sides can come to some type of middle ground, and it's just right now, it's so difficult. I mean, the war is so on both sides, and another thing that was interesting. There was a couple of economic people that I was reading who were saying, this not dealing with the debt ceiling isn't necessarily been not beneficial. It's brought the subject up. It's got people thinking about what's going on, and we got to deal with it. But let's hope it's a smart decision and not just a quick decision. And that's the problem,
It'll be the easy decision.
Well,
that's what's going to happen.
It's back to that low-hanging fruit situation that I bring up all the time. And you know what? They're not being paid to do that. They're being paid to study this correct and do it right. But, when you have one party controlling everything so much, it's very difficult to really get sane legislation out there. That's my opinion, anyway. I know in California that's a fact. And on the Fed level, it's not far behind.
No.
So we've got some elections coming up. It will be interesting to see what happens.
Yes, sir.
On the federal level, it will be interesting.
Come around middle of April, you're going to really start seeing, I think, some fields, some things start to take place. Yeah. Especially, I hope, in the face of our legislature down here in Sacramento. I think you're going to have some good candidates in some of the few open seats that are coming up that are going to be very surprising.
I hope so.
I hope so too.
I hope so. So most of you guys out there know how I feel on things. So we're hopefully we can get some of the right people in, because there's some people we got to get out.
But get involved.
Well, and that's
involved.
And that's the problem. And it's like everything else, trying to get people to even watch this show live. We know we get a number of people watch it recorded, but this is your opportunity to talk to the sheriff about anything that's on your mind. And unfortunately, we've got viewers, but people don't always call, and that's okay. I understand being shy a little bit about it. You can always send me an email before the show and say, hey, I'd like to hear about whatever's on your mind. Anything else going on, John? You think we've kind of wrapped it up today, haven't we?
35 minutes.
Yeah,
that's all.
Yeah, we've kind of.
I got a new project started.
Okay, what's your new project?
I'm building a Jeep.
Are you?
I am. I am. It's been too many years. When I was a kid, I used to. I spent a lot of time four-wheeling and up in the Rubicon, and I had a 1980 CJ7 that was built pretty well. Then I got married and had life and kids, and like
the toys had to go
like a knucklehead. I sold that thing in about 1988 or 89 for $2,500.
I had 2 Land Cruisers. I did the same thing too.
So I didn't inherit. I went and stole it from my dad. He told me, come get the dang thing. But he's had a 1968 CJ5 that's been in the family for decades. And it's been sitting behind his house, basically rotting. Yeah. So I went and
good frame to start.
Towed it down the shop and started tearing it apart and fired it, got it to run. It actually truly blew a rat's nest out of the muffler. It was kind of comical.
That would have been funny to watch.
Yeah. So now I'm sourcing parts and getting everything ready, and hopefully have it built and ready to go this summer.
That'd be nice. There's everything under the sun for that.
Oh, there is.
All it takes is money.
I'm learning Craigslist is a pretty wonderful thing.
It can be.
I've never really looked at Craigslist, but everybody's saying you just got to go on it and check it out. And I think I already found a little SM424 speed and a Dana 30 front end, and we're getting them together.
That'll be cool.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
It'll be nice.
Yeah, we were talking before the show started, too. I rebuilt my deck, and I decided I wanted to do all the steel work on the railings. So I was showing John my hands are absolutely beat up. I've been building all these railings. It's bad here, but it's good therapy. You know, you get out there with that welder, and you have sparks going everywhere, and I feel like I'm doing something anyway.
Good.
Well, listen, not one of our longest shows, but probably one of the very informative shows, because we got to talk about a lot of things from sex offenders to the new facilities to what's going on in the Sheriff's Department. So we're going to do this again next month, of course. I do know that we have a posse. If you're involved with the posse at all, there is a banquet at Cold Springs coming up week after next, I believe. Yes. If you're involved with that, I don't think I can make it. I'm going to try, but I may not. But also, the El Dorado Rod and Gun Club banquet's very important because we try to get all the politicians and players in California. Since we're near the Capitol here, we get an opportunity to get guys like Sam Paradas of Canonas of California. I know Tom Pedersen of CRPA is already coming. He's bought his ticket. Ed Worley, usually of NRA, shows up. So we get a lot of people where it gives you an opportunity to talk about what's on your mind with the guys who are down there walking those halls every day. So it'll be a good thing for everybody. And all I can say is, hey, John, thanks again for coming. And maybe we'll get a little bit more for next month, but hopefully no crazy stuff.
Yeah, no crazy stuff.
No crazy stuff.
This is good.
Yeah, it's good to have it kind of quiet. So anyway. Once again, thank you very much, John. Hey, thank you guys out there for watching Old Guy Tech TV. Opinion versus Opinions coming up at 4 o'clock. Keep us tuned. You'll see we got some strange things to talk about there. This is Rob with Old Guy Tech TV. We'll see you next time. Actually said the other night.